Home to the greatest spectacle in racing, welcome to Indianapolis, Indiana. Known as the Circle City, this moniker pays tribute to Monument Circle, a circular street in the very center of the city. It surrounds the monument that stands at the hub of the downtown area. Holding multiple claims to fame, Indianapolis has made its mark in the sporting industry. The fact that they house the largest sporting facility in the world just scratches the surface of the competitive nature steeped deep within the city's rich history. From greats such as Peyton Manning and Reggie Miller, to rising stars and new names like Caitlin Clark, sporting events have been forever marked by stories from Indy. A peek beyond the city walls will give you the glimpses of rolling fields as far as the eye can see. As one of the top producers of corn in the country, these fields make a picturesque backdrop to the city skyline.
My name is Jason Hampton. We are privileged to have helped to plant Refuge Church. Moved in December of 2016, started the first little meeting in January of 2017, had the blessing of a couple families that expressed some interest early on in being part of a new church to reach our city for the glory of God and for the good of our city. And by the grace of God, God has continued to work despite the fact that in many ways we are against all odds. Met in our living room from January 2017 until September of 2017 and did a soft launch in many ways at a local school with the hope of next year after that in September 2018 doing a public launch and getting out into the community. But God's provision, God's providence intended that we would be a church that learned to suffer very early, specifically our family, as my son ended up dying through drowning in July. And so the summer was radically changed. The hope of launching as a church was radically changed. We wondered, will we survive? How will we make it? Not just as a church, but in many ways as a family. What's this going to look like for us to live? What's it going to look like for us to be a hurting, struggling family that has a very small core group? What does it look like for us to continue? And by the grace of God, God had given us men that had pastoral experience, that had grown to love our church and the vision that we had. God equipped men to step into the role of pastoring and shepherding and being elders and growing in leadership and loving on our people and getting the same vision for what God intended for our church to have and to be. And by the grace of God, we have a pastoral team now because of the dark providence of child loss and suffering and tragedy and trauma. But the effect of that among our people is that they're loved well by a shepherding team, and that they themselves have learned what it means to be a vulnerable, authentic people who recognize their own brokenness. And there's a humility about being able to communicate our need, our brokenness as a body. And so Jesus has worked in weakness. And that is one of the most beautiful ways that God is working, is letting broken people express their brokenness, not put on their mask, pretending to be better than what they are, but seeing Jesus is the true provider of our power, of our strength, of our need. And by the grace of God, He is working in many broken people through the grace of God, through broken people. One of the ways that God is using Refuge to make every day count is we have, in many ways, through our own brokenness, become a church that is sent out to be the church. And by being a people sent out to be the church, we become a diverse church. And part of being a diverse church is a church that is ethnically diverse, to the extent that we actually have about 30 regular attendees who are Congolese that are trying to consider becoming members, and what that looks like for us to be integrated, full of Congolese, full of Americans who are diverse in and of ourselves, and seeing the impact that God is making as literally the nations are coming to Indianapolis, and Burmese refugees, Congolese refugees, and a wide range of other places. God is using our church to become a diverse place, a hub of ministry, as we are being sent out to go and be the church. So we are grateful for the work that God is doing as we are becoming more and more of a city on a hill.
Through his story, Jason has learned the importance of making every day count. How about you?